Welcome to Sterling Visionary Voices, the podcast dedicated to bringing you diverse, innovative leadership insights and actionable strategies for success. Join hosts Laura McNeil and Bob Medeiros as they explore the art and science of role model leadership through thought-provoking conversations with real professionals. Whether you're a seasoned leader or aspiring to excellence, Sterling Visionary Voices is your guide to navigating the complexities of your leadership journey.
Hello, and welcome to Sterling Visionary Voices. I'm your host, Bob Medeiros, and it's my pleasure to introduce our guest today, Maria Nardi. Now, Maria is the Director of Miami-Dade County Parks, Recreation, and Open Spaces, overseeing one of the nation's most diverse and largest accredited park systems, with 2,700 employees, a $270 million budget, over $600 million capital planning and development program, 290 plus parks, approximately 40,000 acres of parkland and protected environmentally sensitive properties, serving 2.8 million residents area-wide and 1.4 million residents in unincorporated Miami-Dade County. Well, Maria, welcome to Visionary Voices. I'm so glad that you have time to be able to talk about your topic, organizational culture.
Thank you, Bob. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm very excited to talk about this important topic for all organizations. And there's so much to share with you about it. So,
excellent. Well, let's start off. Why don't you share a little background on the concept?
Sure. I think, what is organizational culture? Really, I think it is the point where I'd like to start. And the way that we define it is a set of values and beliefs, attitude and systems, rules that outline and influence employee behavior within an organization. For us and most organizations, it includes the mission, vision, and values. Leaderships and employee share what are those expectations. It folds into structured performance, and it really defines the environment for everything that happens within the organization. It's often also those spoken and unspoken behaviors and mindsets that define how your business functions on a day-to-day basis. And it really codifies what it's like for an employee to work there. What is the employee work experience in that organization? So as we know, each culture is unique, and they're created through consistent, authentic actions that reflect how employees, customers, and stakeholders experience the organization and its brand. You're building the brand through your culture. Your culture is your brand, and a strong culture provides consistency and direction and guides decisions and assists the workforce reach its fullest potential.
Excellent. You really sound passionate about the role of culture in the workplace. Now, so how do you use this knowledge in your role as the Director of Miami-Dade Parks, Recreation, and Open Spaces?
So for me in our organization, I have the privilege of leading an amazing organization, and I'm also care deeply about its history. So for us, culture and it has its foundation in our history, and the individuals that came before me, learning from them and the best aspects of them. And so we build on a culture of way back when our Parks Department began in 1929. It was from a donation that really defined ethic of conservation and preservation with the donation of pristine land that we received. And we also bought a piece of land, which is the other bookend of our culture, I'd like to say, that was a quarry site. And that quarried site became an iconic park that is absolutely beautiful. It's one of our heritage parks. And that really defined the ethic of in being creative and industrious with what we were given, being innovative. So all of these elements come together for us in defining the culture of who we are. And it's also through defining our great purpose. Why is our mission important? Why is our vision important? And for us, it's providing for the health, happiness, and opportunities for prosperity to everyone in the community through parks. Culture really defines all of these elements for us. And like I mentioned earlier, it's really the mission, vision, and the core values that keeps everything aligned and moving forward. So we live it and we practice that every single day. And for us as well, we define it, our culture, through parks improving the delivery of excellence, PRIDE.
Oh,
And
okay.
it,
You got an acronym for it.
it has an acronym for it, and it captures all of these values in there. And we ensure that, we provide our staff and we share it with them often. What defines us as a parks organization? What sets us apart and what defines us?
Well, it's interesting. As I read through your bio, this whole concept of open spaces. So and maybe it's a very popular thing nowadays. I don't know, but so tell me what does that mean?
Yeah. So for us, we're defined by also open spaces. Parks is this big definition, and it really encompasses everything. Because the way the Miami-Dade County government is organized, open spaces also means rights of ways and other spaces that are not traditionally defined as parks, but we also manage them. So, for example, and this is a complete circle for Miami-Dade County because we started off as a roadway beautification project. And we are now also managing is the beautification of rights of ways through planting streets. So we have an amazing program, which is 1,000,000 Trees, Miami-Dade County, that is working towards addressing rising heat index through the planting and increasing of canopy. And a big portion of that is along our open spaces in the rights of ways.
Very good. It's really it's nice to hear how your organization kind of becomes all encompassing and also looking forward to expanding the canopy to cool, recognizing where things are going. Fantastic. Hey, well, let me ask you. I love how you're applying this culture and this understanding of culture within your organization. What suggestions do you have for other leaders on how they can apply it in their organization?
Yeah. So I think the first really important thing to do is to define what is the existing culture of an organization, and what is the mission, vision, and the core values that exemplifies that organization. I think one thing that is really critical for all leaders to do is to get teams together to help define what that culture of values is for an organization. And the big job for leadership is to align that organization within every nook and cranny of that business. For us, when our work culture aligns with our employees, they're more likely to feel comfortable and supported and valued. We know that for us too, our culture is our competitive edge. So when there's a lot of choices for people to choose an organization of where to work, in our line of work, which expands and it's vast, People come and work for Miami-Dade County because they know the culture and this organization, and they value it. So I think for leaders, it's really making sure that it aligns. I think for leadership, once a culture is aligned, you're able to retain talent, you're able to attract talent. It gives you a competitive edge, and I think it also increases productivity. When an organization is healthy, I think employees are happy, and when employees are happy, they tend to be more productive. So all around, really important focus for leadership.
Maria, what do you see as the role of communication in deploying the concept of organizational culture?
Very critical, very, very critical. So we've learned from, Sterling management framework, how all of these elements tie together with leadership systems, work systems, and governance system, all of them. I think communication is key because that communication and alignment really go together. If in large organizations like ours, with multiple different business enterprises, the ability to reach, and I should back up and say, and in a county that is as large as this one is, right? Miami-Dade County is about the size of the state of Rhode Island. So we're located from north, south, east, west in multiple different areas. Communication is absolutely key, and consistent and constant communication is key in being able to share what these values are, but also embedding them into every aspect of our work. When we talk about a culture and all of that it holds, mission, vision, and core values, it is not a standalone element. It is really something that needs to be incorporated into every aspect of all of our work, and communication is key. Having said that, communication is incredibly difficult. I have to say, one of the things that keeps coming up in our employee satisfaction survey or employee feedback survey, which we do often, is improved communication. And that's been, the trend of that has been for, for at least as long as I've been here, 20 years. And I think it's constantly defining communication for an incredibly vast and diverse group of people, and also for different generations that communicate in different ways. I think for me, the biggest aha moment is that sometimes when people talk about communication, they're really talking about connection with another person, whether it be a peer, a supervisor, a director, whatever that may be, or, CEO of a company. Communication and having a personal connection to somebody within the organization that they can be mentored or can go to when they have questions, I think becomes really critical.
Well, culture is so fundamental to the success of an organization. What do you see as some of the pitfalls of a culture gone awry?
Well, I think when the culture is not defined, it will define itself for you. So I think that is really important, and why it's so important for leadership to define the culture of an organization. When when an organization goes awry, it's because there is not an alignment or a clear definition of the mission, the vision, and the core values. And if there is, there has not been the embedding or hardwiring of that culture within the organization. So I think some of those challenges are going back and reestablishing or redefining a connection for all of employees with the culture of the organization, whether it be a renewed culture or the redefining of a culture, and getting everyone involved to help define that too. I think that that's also really important. But if a culture goes awry, you're going to see impacts of employee dissatisfaction. You're going to see lower rates of retention. You're going to see lack of productivity. You're going to see a lot of conflicts among employees. Probably the HR quota in terms of resolving issues is a very high one. And, large organizations will always have issues to resolve, at various levels of complexity. But having a culture that everyone understands really does help.
Right.
Help with that. Yeah.
Excellent. I loved how earlier you mentioned that, culture is really your brand. And I definitely see that. You had mentioned, from the very beginning that, back in 1929, there was this donation of a former quarry site, and that became like the impetus of the department. So what did that quarry site turn into?
So that is now Reynolds Park, and Reynolds Park was designed and built in the 30s. An extraordinary park, one of our most iconic parks that we have. At that point in the early 30s, it had a large mound structure, which at that time was the highest elevation in Miami-Dade County. So I can't imagine it was, that's no longer the case today. But at the time, it really helped define a vision for parks. Working with native materials, the Civilian Corps of Engineers, the CCC built that park. So it's really an extraordinary park. It's a constant reminder of what's possible.
Well, and it's interesting because, your organization, I think, even count not just statewide, but across the United States. I mean, you're one of the largest county parks department. Is that true?
That is. We're one of 3 of the largest park systems in the nation. And thanks for bringing that up, Bob, because a little bit about our parks department. We are, you mentioned in the beginning, defining who we are. Within the spectrum of what we do, it's incredibly vast. It goes beyond parks. We do everything from beginning to end. So we have a team of individuals that are dedicated to building our parks. So they will buy land. They will, land acquisition team purchases land. We plan it, we design it, we build it, we program it, we maintain it, and we do the entire back of house of real estate. So Miami-Dade Parks, besides the amazing, beautiful parks that we have, within those parks, we have marinas, golf courses, Zoo Miami, historic sites, as you mentioned, environmentally endangered lands, a total of about 40,000 acres of land. So the system is vast and incredibly diverse. And this is why, too, working for us on our culture and, for us, our pride culture is really getting everyone to embrace and gather around a common vision, a bold vision for us in that case. Back in 2006, we started a journey towards defining the future of Miami-Dade County, and we decided to define that as the next 50 years, 100 years. So we created a plan with the community that defined that bold vision, that also defined the values of our organization and the pillars of this organization. And with that bold vision, we're able to lead all of the work that we do, especially from the capital program perspective.
Yeah, that is a huge capital program that you're in. You've got your hands on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Maria, I really appreciate all you've shared about the importance of culture, how it applies in your organization, how other leaders can try to apply what you folks are doing. And I love how you've tied in that whole culture into that pride. So I really do appreciate you sharing that perspective of culture and how other leaders can actually apply this learning in their own organizations. I just also wanted to put in a plug to mark your calendars for the 2025 Sterling South Florida Summit on January 23rd, 2025 at the beautiful Zoo Miami. I had the honor to attend a number of events there, and that's definitely a jewel in the crown of your department. So we really do appreciate that. Well, Maria, any last closing statements or anything you'd like that I didn't mention that you
I think you captured it. I think you captured everything. A big thank you to you and a big thank you to Sterling. They really have been, for us, foundational in terms of developing the culture of our organization and helping us carry it through for many, many years. So we look forward to hosting the summit in January. So I look forward to seeing you and many other folks in January.
Well, fantastic. Okay, thank you, Maria. Hey, well, that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank you all for joining us here at Sterling Visionary Voices. To hear other episodes, just go to sterlingvisionaryvoices.com. Maria, thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure, and we will talk with you soon.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Sterling Visionary Voices, Insights for Role Model Leadership from the Sterling Council. Discover more and connect with us at sterlingvisionaryvoices.com.